I saw the finale for the Amazing Digital Circus in theaters, and I'm gonna talk about it. I want to give a huge warning up front that obviously this video is going to be filled with spoilers. So if you have not seen it, either go to a theater that's playing it, or, I mean, by the time this video comes out, it'll be on YouTube. Go watch it there. Or don't. So yeah, no, if you don't want spoilers, bye-bye. Click off. Bye-bye. If you're still here, I assume you either seen the finale, don't care, or are asleep and YouTube autoplay has played this to haunt you in your dreams. I also want to say that this is purely my opinion. If you loved the finale, great. I'm happy that you did. Go keep enjoying things, please. Now, again, spoiler warning, here are my basic thoughts on the finale. Meh. It was alright. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. Now, the actors give a fantastic performance, and the animation is stellar throughout. They did a fantastic job. I want to reiterate that. This looks incredible, and the actors sound incredible. But the script and pacing was lackluster, to say the least. I genuinely went into this thinking I was going to cry in the theater, like bawl my eyes out, cry in the theater. I was so hyped for this. I bought the tickets like as soon as they were available. And there were a lot of emotional scenes in this. I keep wanting to say film because I saw it in theaters. In this episode, the most emotional scene in this film kind of left me just feeling nothing. Not in like a trauma apathy kind of way, more in a I'm bored kind of way. The ending just kind of felt rushed, and almost nobody, except for Jax, gets like real closure. They all get closure, but there's all quotation marks around it. 70% of this finale is dedicated to Jax. So how did we get here? In the last episode, episode 8, Kane is dead, and Kinger breaks the news that they are, in fact, all brain scans. He found out while he was hacking the mainframe. They all have a little bit of a cry over this, but then they just kind of get over it. Pomni does say, like, I suspected for a while this was the case, but I think an extra moment would have been nice to, like, realize your entire reality is wrong. They've been looking for an exit for, like, the past few episodes, and that was, like, their #1 motivation, and so they've immediately just go, oh, okay, I guess whatever. They then set about rebuilding the circus now that it's all in disarray and there's no color after Kane was died. This is implied to have taken place over a decent amount of time because you see the stars in the sky and they basically are like a whole line. It's like a time lapse. So it's implied that like they've been at it for a while. Then, spoilers, you were warned, Jax abstracts. Mainly because the plot needed him to, which comes to my first problem. I have no problem that Jax abstracted. It was most likely going to happen. How they portray it though is like awful. We see Jax literally walk up to Pomni. He reaches, he's like says like hey or something along the lines, like just like a greeting, and she looks at him and then he goes never mind and just walks away. And then Pomni also just walks away in an opposite direction. We then get a weird voiceover from what I presume is future Pomni saying, oh, I regret not like going after him at the time. That's the problem. Pomni didn't go after him. That is so out of character that it was genuinely jarring to see in the theater. Mind you, at this point, Pomni had been constantly reaching out to Jax over and over again, even after he went off on her in the gun episode. Like, she still would go after him. She even told him to be here in episode 8. That was after he just like fucked everything up. She still didn't want him to abstract, obviously, so this was just so odd to see. Mind you, at this point in time, she has the mindset of fixing up the circus and making it habitable for everybody. Why, when she's in the mindset of like fixing up the circus and getting it like in a livable condition again, would she see Jax obviously about to abstract and then just not go after him? Like, he reaches out and then says never mind and walks away. Dog, famous last words. That's why I say it solely was for the plot to move forward. Pomni can't go after him because we need to have the rest of the episode, even if it completely goes in the face of Pomni as a character. She is straight up seeing horrors beyond comprehension and still has a can-do attitude. We don't see Jax abstract either, which I was kind of disappointed in. It just cuts to Pomni and Ragatha on the balcony seeing Jax like all abstracted, like running around on the bottom level. And they do have a nice moment where they chat and she talks about how Pomni says that Ragatha is her closest friend, and it's a very beautiful moment. And then they just kind of walk in opposite directions. Again, it was very weird to see, like, they just walk away from each other, but in a weird, like, she straight up implies that she's going to go deal with Jax, and Ragatha goes, okay, and then walks away, which doesn't make sense for what happens later, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Pomni confronts Jax, or the creature, in a hallway. He starts charging at her, and she shoots all the lights out, and then after all the lights are out, she gives him a hug, and that pulls her into his brain, basically, like his mind. In his mind, there are a bunch of doors, and each door has like a different facet of Jax's personality. None of them are good. Again, the animation is fantastic. They clearly took inspiration from Evangelion in one scene. She walks into a room. It is clearly a psychotic Jax that has killed everyone. And then this Jax like immediately starts choking Pomni, and it looks very clearly inspired by End of Evangelion, which I like. And the sequence in his mind is very well animated, and the styles are very good. Very good. He has a serial killer side, a goofy cartoony side, and then a side that is just completely homophobic. Like, that is what it is. And there is a side of him that knows the piano. After she goes through all of these rooms that are all little vignette like views into these alternate realities basically inside of Jax's head, we then go to the back rooms at the end of the hallway where all of the Jax personalities are sitting and playing cards. The homophobic Jax is wearing a maid outfit, ironically, they point out. This Jax is the most outspoken, and they just straight up say a slur. In Jax's head, swear words are censored, and I think they specifically chose not to use swear words so that they could say the F slur and censor it. Because there's really no reason for the censoring to be in Jax's head unless, you know, he has trauma. He has trauma from Cain, so he has to censor himself. Something I did notice on a rewatch is that the other Jaxes, there were no other swears in that entire sequence, but some of the Jaxes, it's so weird using like a plural of Jax, go out of their way to say non-swear words. Like, I heard some like freaking and just like a lot of like something you would hear from a kid on Xbox Live while his parents are in the room. Like, you would say, what the frick? And again, I think solely they tried to, like, I completely think that they tried to avoid that just so that saying the F slur would be like impactful. I honestly was just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. I kind of just was like, oh, wow, cool, edgy, lol. That's what I got from it. Pomni basically like throws stuff at all the Jaxes and they disappear, and then the piano Jax, who apparently only knows 2 songs on piano, gives Pomni a key to Jax's memories. We then go into a room where Pomni is now seeing memories through Jax's eyes. It's all POV. We see his relationship with Ribbit and Kaufmo, and we learn Jax's tragic backstory. During a kind of intimate moment between Jax and Ribbit, he ends up confessing what happened before he was brought into the circus, what was happening in the real world to him. And we learn about what the videos from episode 7 mean. I was preparing to bawl my eyes out. The scene is beautiful. It looks fantastic. The lighting is incredible. It just looks so good. So what's Jax's tragic backstory? His dad left, and then he pushed his mom. Besides the mom pushing, I actually had a similar, home life to what is described by Jax. So his parents got divorced and his dad just left. Him and his mom had a toxic, strained relationship. Jax said that she would use him as like a surrogate for his father, not in like a weird incesty way, more in like a punching bag kind of way, where she would take out her frustration over her ex-husband on Jax. Then this leads to a big blow up where Jax and his mother are screaming at each other. It's kind of implied that Jax was coming out as trans, or just kind of like coming out as just gender spicy in general. He says that she laughed at him and then started saying even worse stuff to him. Then his mom, after venting, surprises him with a hug. This is when Jax pushes her. Jax pushes her away and she falls to the floor. He straight up thinks that he killed her, so he just starts running, which explains the videos of him running out of the house and then down the street. Jax is then homeless at this point, and we get another video of him clearly sleeping on like a makeshift bed in some sort of dilapidated building or some sort of shelter. But it doesn't really explain the car, like him being in a car in one of the videos. It's kind of explained later on, but not really. We'll get to it. So Jax is now a homeless mom pusher. And given what Jax says, and then the vague context that it might have been a coming out, she kind of deserved a little bit of a shove, in my opinion. Now, that was a lot to take in, the idea that Jax might have killed his own mother. It also explains why Jax hates being touched or just getting close to people in general. But then Ribbit just fully tears apart the backstory with just facts and logic. She actuallys him. She tells him that because no warrants were made for him and he wasn't arrested, there's no way that his mom could have been killed. We don't really know how long Jax was homeless before he was digitized, but the ending all but confirms that Jax's mom is fine. Ribbit then puts her bow tie on Jax's head and says, "Your secret is safe with me," again implying that Jax might be trans. It is hinted at throughout the series that Jax may be trans and is at the very least gender spicy. And as of recording this, it's all but been confirmed on X.com. You want to know crucial lore about your favorite series? Go to X.com. That's how you get it. What? We wouldn't put this in the actual show itself. You have to go to X.com. I also don't think that the trans community would claim Jax after what happens next. Hewmu rings the doorbell and asks if he could come into the room. Jax then, for no reason, takes the bow tie that was on his head and throws it away in front of Ribbit. He then straight up sets about killing her. Like, there's no good way to say it. I've seen people try and defend it. He actively is manipulating Ribbit to kill herself. And it's like in an evil, manipulative, calculated type of way too. Ribbit immediately apologizes the next day and says that she did not mean to pry. Jax then laughs in her face and says that he made the entire thing up anyway and that she's an idiot for believing it. I know hurt people, but Jax is just disgusting in this part. He not only starts ignoring Ribbit or just being actively aggressive towards her, he isolates her from the rest of the group, makes her feel unwanted. Mind you, this is solely because Hewmu knocked on the door, or rang the doorbell during like a intimate moment. And I understand that Jax thinks that Ribbit is using this information or going to use this information against him to make fun of him to the others. But Ribbit has done nothing but be very kind and be a good friend to Jax. She even has like a full-blown breakdown towards Jax on the top of that snowy mountain that you see in episode 7 in the orb. And she full-blown says she's sorry for what she did, whatever she did. Could Jax please tell her what she did? She just wants to be friends with him, or just go back to the way things were. She does nothing wrong and still she accepts the blame and just wants to know what she can do to remedy the situation, to help Jax. I liked Jax prior to this episode. Like, he was a complete asshole, but the mysterious traumatic background kind of like helped it. And also, he didn't really do anything this evil in the series. And even if Jax had not known about abstractions, which I don't think he did at this point, he has to assume that if somebody is pushed to the point in which they want to game over themselves, even in this digital world, somebody's going to try and find a way to do it. They're immortal as far as Jax is concerned, so she's just going to spend the rest of her existence miserable trying to end her own life. Luckily, there's abstraction, so she didn't have to wait very long. Or unluckily, I should say, because Ribbit is actually awesome. I wish that we got way more time with her, and not through Jax's eyes, because fuck Jax at this point. Like, not being friends with Ribbit is one thing, but actively manipulating her to make her feel unwanted and isolate her from the rest of the group is not cool. And just because you have one memory where you almost knocked on her door when she was at her lowest, go fuck yourself, dude. You're literally, that was put there to like play the victim of like, Jax wanted to reach out, but the trauma. It's like, okay, yes, but this person's life is done at this point. Or they're just trapped inside of a abstraction monster, which is kind of implied with Jax. There's really no excuse, because after Ribbit abstracts, and now that Jax knows that's a thing, he pretty much does the same thing to Kaufmo, where he fully just ignores Kaufmo. He's clearly having a bad time. He's like, I know where the exit is, and he's like clearly out of it. Jax just straight up tells him to fuck off and, you know, less words. Something heartbreaking that Kaufmo says during this segment, you see a montage of him, Ribbit, and Kaufmo being really close friends and really cool. The last time Jax sees Kaufmo, he says, hey Jax, I know we're not really close, which is just heartbreaking because it shows that Jax has just been fully ignoring this guy for a long time. Yes, feels guilty for Ribbit's death, but actively chooses to do it, to make the same mistake again towards Kaufmo and not reach out to him. And you might be wondering what's happening with Gangle, Zubul, Ragatha, and Kinger during this time. Beats me. They didn't animate that. Gangle and Zubul do fuck after the credits though, so stay tuned for that. That's my problem with this episode, is that so much time is spent on Jax that we don't get anything with the other characters. We do, but like very little compared to Jax. And now, instead of being just an asshole, Jax is a sociopathic mom pusher, in my opinion. So besides Pomni and a little bit of Kinger, the other characters pretty much take a sideline to Jax's story. They should call us the Amazing Digital Jax, am I right? Ooh, that's not going in. That's not going in. Which would have been fine if this wasn't the last episode, or there was just a little bit more runtime. After Pomni sees all of Jax's memories, she meets the real soft boy Jax in the void. Yeah, he used social engineering to make two of his friends self-game over, but deep down, he's really just soft. He's just a soft boy, and he knows 2 songs on the piano. Like, I don't care that you were homeless, Jax, or that you pushed your mom. You said about killing your friends, Ribbit and Kaufmo, in a calculated, predatory way. However, Pomni, like me, is colorblind and ignores all of these red flags. She hugs the real Jax and accepts him for who he is. Evil and gender non-conforming. Jax just has like a full-blown breakdown when Pomni hugs him. Back in the circus, we see Pomni hugging the creature, and then it steps on a flashbang grenade, which goes off and causes it to like freak out. Editing Hugh here, I just completely skipped over a part of my script because my camera fucked up and I forgot about it. So after the flashbang goes off, you see a montage of Jax set to the song Isn't She Lovely by Stevie Wonder, which again is another hint towards Jax not being gender conforming and possibly being trans. But if you go to twitter.com, you can just get confirmation of that from one of like the heads of Glitch. So, you know, why explore that in the series? She's infected and all glitchy, probably some sort of digital ligma, and the others lasso Pomni away to safety. They then yell at her for trying this on her own. We only have like 15 more minutes to wrap up everyone's arcs, but we have more Jax stuff to deal with. They all build him like a nice big dark tent and then lasso the creature into the tent so that Jax can be comfy. They can't cure the abstraction, but they can at least make him comfortable. Then the gang just chills out on a couch and, you know, relaxes after a job well done. Then Kane shows up. He can't be dead. He's the only one with answers. We see him like overlooking the crew. Then it cuts to Kane in the void, and it's clearly like right after he was deleted. He has a little bit of a mentee bee about everyone hating him and wanting to get rid of him. While he's having this mentee bee, he sees something on the horizon and he starts running. He runs and runs, and then he comes to a folder and a door. The folder is labeled brain scans. He has to make like stairs up until he gets to this door / folder. And then it shows Scratch popping out of the folder. It's him making a Scratch from scratch. He also is browsing Instagram at some point. He's opened a door to Wi-Fi and is browsing through Instagram looking at random people. Now, this scene seemed to have confused a handful of people, me included. I saw online the running theory. Well, not the running theory. What's happening is that you're seeing Kane at 2 points in time. You're seeing the Kane that was just deleted by the group in the circus, and you are seeing the Kane that broke out of containment and just built the circus. So when Scratch shows up, that is Kane making Scratch originally for the first time. It's a little confusing because it's all happening at the same exact time. It's kind of cutting between those two time frames. Kane then decides that he does not need the blue AI. Why? I don't know, he just decides it. My guess is that Kane came to the realization that he wasn't actually defective and that he didn't need the blue AI and he was fine the way he was. This immediately mellows Kane out. It's not explained, but my headcanon is that the blue AI corrupts Kane and makes him strive for perfection. In episode 8, we see the red AI making crazy abstract shapes, and that red AI is Kane. And then we see the blue AI making perfect cookie cutter shapes. Again, none of this is explained, and the Kane just decides he doesn't need the blue AI anymore. I still think that Bubble was a representation of the blue AI's hatred and judgment of Kane's imperfections. And Bubble does not show up after this point, so it's all but confirmed that Bubble was the blue AI. Kane finds his way back to the circus and cures the gang of their glitchy ligma that they got from the Jax creature. He says that he was sorry and that he just wanted to make everyone happy. He then relinquishes ownership to them and says that he wants to help them make this the most perfect place possible. He says he knows it will take time for them to trust him again, but he's willing to work with them to do whatever they need. They all just then immediately accept him, mainly because the credits are on the horizon. No more time for development. Yeah, he tortured you for an undisclosed amount of time. It's all water under the bridge. Who's still thinking about that? He then says he has a show prepared for them and to go to the stage. The show is a social media slideshow of all of their IRL selves. Basically, where they are now. And it's weirdly narrated by Pomni, but not like actually. You don't see her narrating it. It's just narrated non-diegetically. So I guess Kane has a TikTok Pomni narrator voice. All right. In real life, they're all strangers and they all learned and growed and found fulfillment. Pomni is an accountant and does vlogs on the side with her friends. Ragatha apparently told off her overbearing mother, became a real estate mogul, and now owns a bunch of horses. And this highlights a problem I touched upon earlier. Because so much time is spent redeeming Jax, every other character is pushed to the side just to find out that their IRL selves have all learned and grown and are completely fulfilled and actualized people. Does Ragatha get to overcome her trauma and grow from it in the series? Nah, IRL Ragatha did it, so it's fine. Gangle quit her fast food job after getting hit by a car and then gets a job at a design firm and makes a webcomic. Zubul IRL opens up an alt bar that's a safe space for LGBT people, and Gangle IRL goes there often. Kinger is a programmer and he has a wife and kids and he's doing great. Jax is taken in by a friend and gets back on their feet. They become an Amazon driver and they also go to Zubul's bar. Jax IRL self is completely referred to with he, him pronouns. So all of the hints about Jax being trans are only canon on Twitter, I suppose. His mom is either totally fine or still lying on the floor to this day. This is all done through like fake social media posts with like real people. They're actors, but I don't know who these actors are, but I do fear for them once the episode is fully released. I'm sure everyone will be totally cool to Jax's IRL actor. It's kind of like your younger self seeing your future self, and like you accomplished everything, and it's a little bit sappy and happy. Also, Kane can't fix abstractions, so Jax never learns about this information. Like, that's just not something that Jax will ever know. They all fix up the circus and live happily ever after, and Zubul and Gangle fucking the credits. But hold on, it's 2026, so there has to be an after credits scene, and it is just all of them, the IRL versions of them, sitting at a bus stop waiting for a bus to come. The bus comes and they get on the bus. Honestly, I think it would have been funnier if IRL Ragatha was on a horse and got onto the bus like on a horse. Also, Ragatha is a successful real estate mogul and Kinger is like a successful programmer. Why are they taking the bus? Walkable cities? Nah. Too unrealistic. Illusion was broken. And that's it. Did we get answers? Yes. Did we get more questions? Also yes. Why didn't Kane get delete? Can the brain scans be used multiple times and he can bring everyone back? It would be a bit of a Ship of Theseus situation. Is that a thing that can happen? Also, why did all these random strangers have brain scans? Prior to this episode, I kind of thought it was like a San Junipero type of deal where it's like a digital afterlife and that everyone IRL was just terminal. But no, it's just a bunch of random young adults, some CNA employees, and then Kinger's wife. Well, obviously I don't want everything explained. It does seem a little bit like hand wavy and just like, all right, we're done. Jax was a homeless teenager. Why did they scan his brain? And how? I was also confused by all of the shots of the CNA buildings, and all of the computers are like old 90s like tube monitors, like big white computers. So why is it in the modern day and there's social media and everything? I didn't understand that at all. So was Kane just like on a random server that they've left on for like 30 years? And even if that is the case, how does it have Wi-Fi access? Someone at CNA is on the hook for this electricity bill, and it is not brought up at all. Also, where's Gummy Goo? Just kind of left the NPC AI thread just fully hanging. He wasn't even in like the end montage. You couldn't give him a single line. Gummy Goo now appears more in this video than he does in the entirety of the final episode of the Amazing Digital Circus. And that's it. I'm just indifferent. I love this series, but this finale was mid at best. We spend so much time dealing with Jax that all the other characters' arcs need to either be fast forwarded or non-existent. A happy ending is fine, and I honestly hoped for a happy ending, but this feels Disney happy ending, like modern Disney happy ending. Safe, ad-friendly, not problematic. They even hid like the non-hetero couples like intimacy behind a door in the credits, which feels completely in Disney's handbook. It's literally giving Lightyear or that time in Star Wars. It's an ending with an asterisk because all the characters still are available and can come back, but will they? Honestly, I hope they come out with like another 20 minutes of something, like an extended cut would be fantastic. I think this series really just needed either 10 episodes or just another 20 minutes tacked onto this finale to like wrap up the other characters. The Amazing Digital Circus has ended and I watched it. My Letterboxd score is 3 out of 5. Needed more time in the oven. Bye-bye. I need to get these things off my fucking ears. They hurt. Ow, 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 ow. Wait, I want to do this on camera. Oh, maybe I can't. Oh, can I? Yes. Oh! Go over there. Oh! Oh! Oh, that actually hurt so badly. Ow, 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 ow.